Welcome to Jessie Cars. My name is Eric.
And I'm Jesse.
And this is the all-new Nissan ARIYA. Nissan ARIYA, the first new EV really after the Leaf. I mean, they've been in the game since a long time, but the Leaf is really pretty much outdated these days.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the all-new ARIYA. Or whatever you pronounce it.
Arigato. No.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to say ARIYA. Hopefully that's not cultural appropriation.
Isn't there a hotel in Las Vegas called the ARIYA?
I've never been to Las Vegas.
I think there
I
is.
am too poor for Las Vegas. So remember to subscribe so we are not as poor anymore. Can we give you more reviews? Starting off with a look at the exterior, and then we'll take a look at the interior, then we're going to drive it. And I think this looks very much like an EV.
It does, especially the front end.
Yes.
The color, deep ocean blue and with black diamond, right?
Yes, and I think that looks really cool. But they have that copper bronze kind of color. That looks sick.
That color looks like
we'll pop up a photo for you. But like, if you get an ARIYA, you got to get that.
I don't know why that wasn't the fleet car. Like
there is another one I think that just wanted to have some variety. This is awesome looking though, with the other color I think. But I generally like it. Like it is kind of transportation pod vibey because you have those super long wheelbase and it's very like bulby. Mm-hmm. I think they did a lot of good here though. Like there's other EVs that don't nearly look as good as this.
I agree.
And
the front end looks very EV, obviously.
Very EV. You have kind of like a evolved, evolved trim, kind of Nissan grill with these saber-tooth teeth. I don't know, whatever you'd call it. But it definitely looks a lot more modern. It's a lot of more bolder of intake of like Nissan's previous. I like these little kind of like design.
Yeah, this little transparent grille is nice.
Right? We got a Nissan logo that lights up because everybody at night should see that you are indeed driving a Nissan.
And these rims.
They're cool.
EV rims typically look terrible, and they managed to do a decent job here. These look nice.
Yeah, like I feel like every EV we criticize the wheels. Super important for these wheels to be covered up because we had the IONIQ 6, which had the nicer looking 18-inch wheel, 20-inch wheels.
And you lost 70 kilometers of range. 70
kilometers of range just because the wheels were a little bigger and not covered up. So this is a great solution.
Put that into perspective, right? If you only get 400 kilometers of range, 70 kilometers is what?
Big
I'm not good at
difference.
math, but it's
like almost like 20%-ish.
More than 20%.
So these, very cool. I like the look. Well, we talked about the side. It's very transport pod.
You got the sport back kind of slope. You know, it's
yeah, it's like that aerodynamics.
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of aerodynamics, we flow through this dual spoiler kind of thing, which we've known from the EV6. That seems to be, I guess, the most aerodynamic way to channel air down. I do like the rear end though.
I do like the rear end. It's just, to me, this screams Lexus.
Honestly,
these lights look Lexus to me.
I can see the new RX or the IS kind of in there. I totally understand.
I like the rear end.
I think it looks good.
I like the rear end.
But yeah, it looks a little familiar. This is the Evolve Plus trim. Whatever Evolve's supposed to, it's not the top trim. So the top trim is maybe evolved or extinct. Maybe evolved.
No, it's called ARIYA More Evolved.
It's just more evolved, even more evolved. And I don't know, but yeah, it's almost the top trim. So we'll talk about that later though. Should we take a look at the interior though?
Let's go.
All right. Okay, inside the ARIYA, and I gotta say, this is quite cool.
It's a very nice place to be.
Right? I didn't close the door properly. There we go. Yeah, they did some very interesting stuff.
You can interrupt the voice prompt and give a command immediately by pushing the talk switch. Say phone, navigate, canceling.
No. Okay, that was new. Anyhow, this wood.
I like it.
It's so nice. They have integrated our HVAC buttons into the wood.
I love it.
I don't know how that's physically possible, but some of these, and there's even haptic feedback. So if you press them, like the wood, there's like vibration, and it actually is so convincing to my brain that if I want to adjust like multiple steps, I don't take my finger off. I just want to press it again, but it's a touch button, so you actually have to get off.
It's awesome, actually.
It's really cool. Is it as easy to use as complete physical? No, but
works.
I don't care. It looks so good. And if
even here, you got the drive modes in that.
You get the drive mode, the E-step, which is like the regenerative braking.
And this lights up when your phone's charging.
Like it's really, really cool.
Futuristic.
Right? And there's really, I think there's one other car that does it, and it's a BMW iX, which is significantly more expensive than this. So really cool. And I think overall, I really like this interior. I love the steering wheel with a flat bottom. You got this very shaped airbag cluster.
And that's a very interesting hazard.
Yeah, it's I've never seen it in that spot. It's kind of weird. And this is, you know, these buttons. I love the volume knob, by the way. It feels very solid too. Like, especially after some of the
It's pretty funny though, it's just one knob, that's it.
Yeah, after some of the other cars we've been in, this feels very solid and well built too.
Mercedes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, let's talk seats though.
Very comfortable. So these are not, you can get these seats in apple leather and the higher trims.
Exactly.
So we can't really speak on those because we haven't sat in those.
Yeah, these are mixed like kind of suede-ish with
like a
leather, faux leather. I
Very
like
comfortable.
them. They're very comfortable. Heated, no ventilation, unfortunately. Even the Napa leather seats, you cannot get ventilated seats.
Which I don't understand.
Which is for the price is a little sad. But
Thankfully, this one's power adjustable, unlike some cars.
and power up and down.
Yeah.
Looking at another car company here. But yeah, materials throughout.
Very nice, minus a few spots. So we got nice soft touch here, hard touch up here, and I don't understand why this right here is a
Yeah,
hard
this
plastic.
is weird. We have like nice leather up here and down here, but this is like,
I would have loved to see this wood continue here.
yeah, and it's not even soft touch or anything. So
No,
that's kind of a bit of an odd spot.
This is like a half soft touch. It's not terrible.
It's a little sloped though. It's kind of
yeah,
hard to put your arm on it.
The way that it's sloped, it discourages you from putting your arm there.
Yeah, I tried to put my elbow kind of like right into that little crease, but overall though, a lot to like here. What's really funky is we have this center console, and if you remember in the IONIQ 5, wait, you haven't been in the IONIQ 5, right?
I haven't.
So the IONIQ 5 has a center console you can like manually slide forward and backwards because we have this massive space for our feet. I can literally drive with my left foot and have the right foot. I can like kick you. Sorry to make your shoes dirty, but I can literally kick him. It's so much to me. And they were like, you know what, make it luxurious. So you can move it forward and backwards. It's motorized, so you can adjust where this stuff is. We have more space in the rear, which is really cool until you notice that you have a Miata-sized center console. They have like all this space is used for motors.
I honestly don't. I would get the motors out of here. Give me a manual.
just give me like a little handle. Like they got so caught up in if they could, they didn't
Right.
ask if they should.
Right, I agree.
Luckily, you do get two center consoles, two glove boxes though, which does kind of make up for it.
And this comes down so low.
Yeah, you definitely have to. That's why it's so wide. You spread out.
Yeah.
But so once you kind of get used to where you play stuff, it totally works. Digital gauge cluster looks great. I like it. Works well.
Overall, I like the screen.
Yeah, it looks great. And we have the new Nissan infotainment. This is a way more updated version. If you remember the Outlander, that was the old Nissan system. This is new. I'm not sure how I feel about the jiggliness
It's
of
definitely
everything.
a little bit laggy.
It's not super fast, but we get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. That was the wrong button. I'm just like, for some reason, our voice commands keep activating here right now. This didn't used to happen. I don't know what I'm doing here right now. But Apple CarPlay, Android Auto wired, no wireless. But we got, we have our slot right here, and you can plug it in, put your phone right there. So
I don't know why it's so hard.
Canceling voice recognition.
I don't know why it's so hard to get wireless.
I don't know, like it would be nice, but it's definitely a nice step up over what's before, and we have a few more HVAC stuff right here. And even when you're in Android Auto, this bar always stays on the side, so you can just easily go, oh, let's change the audio station to something that'll not give us a copyright strike, and you can go back to Android Auto easily. Honestly, up front, I'm very happy.
You can get the
True.
the digital. What do you call it actually?
I would say, I think they call it Smart Rear View. I would just call it digital rear view.
It's an option in a higher trim.
Exactly, for the higher trims you get that, which is a great feature, but for like $5,000 more, you don't really get that much, where I'm thinking like, it's worth it. Big sunroof.
Yep.
Up top, and then looking at the rear seats.
Plenty of space. Again, comfortable seats. You got USB, USB-C, heated seats.
Like, it's spacious. It's very spacious for an SUV this size. You do notice that because it's an EV, you don't have a drivetrain running through this and all. It's a comfortable place to be. Slightly reclining.
The back of the seats, I don't really know what material this is. It doesn't feel very good.
It feels like a mix out of fabric and plastic. It's kind of odd.
Not really sure.
And the kind of for the center cup holders, they could have pulled a little like tap
Yeah.
on that, because you have to kind of like jam your fingers
Yeah.
in there and just sort of pull it out instead of just to give us a little tap.
Small nitpick, but
Small nitpick, overall still very comfy. I like it. And lastly, trunk space is actually really good, especially with the second
is.
row up. We get 38.3 cubic feet of space, which handily beats out IONIQ 5, EV6, Mach-E. And with the second row down, you get just shy of 55 cubic feet of space, which is
pretty good.
really good. The one thing that is a negative though, you do not have any frunk whatsoever.
yeah, it's literally just looks like an engine.
Yeah, it's just set up like an internal combustion. You have a big engine up top, or the motor, and that's it. You don't have any space. And the Mach-E had a full-on frunk, which was quite nice. But yeah, so you do miss out on that. But you have plenty of space in the back. Just be conscious that it slopes back, the roof. So if you move bigger items, it might be a little difficult to fit in there. But that's generally an EV kind of thing because of their roof lines. But should we hit the road?
Let's go. Let's put the pedal to the metal.
Oh yeah. Not in the ARIYA. we're in sport mode thanks to our nice wooden switches. I'm gonna brake torque and let's see how quick we go. There we go. There we go. It goes up to speed.
All right, so that's the slowest EV that I've been in so far.
That is definitely the slowest we've been in, and it absolutely like limits power at the beginning. You felt it like gaining power and gaining power as you got faster, because this is not sport oriented whatsoever. So this is the front wheel drive model. So we have a front engine motor putting out 238 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque sent just to the front wheels. You can get an all-wheel drive model that has about 370-ish horsepower. But this is made for efficiency and cruising.
I mean, efficiency, what do we get, 400 to the charge?
No, about 500.
Okay.
About 500 kilometers per charge, which is decent.
Yeah.
And it's fairly efficient. This is really more for like, you've been an internal combustion engine, you don't care really how it is, and you just want to have your quick, you just want to basically same experience in an electric car. So you don't need any of that sportiness, you don't need a rear-wheel drive, which is what I love about all the EVs coming out. They're basically all rear-wheel drive, but this one is essentially, like, we don't have a front, we just have a motor up front with front-wheel drive. This is like an internal combustion engine car in a way from the setup, but it does have the benefits of being very smooth, right?
Which is, yeah, to be expected.
Exactly, and even with just 238 horsepower, like taking gaps is fairly easy because you still got fairly quick response, right? Because it's an EV. So honestly, I don't mind it too much. Yeah, it's not as fun as some of the other ones, but hey, it do be what it do be. Let's try and do a little handling test though. Of course, put it right back into sport and see how quick this ARIYA takes a corner. We cannot expect any drifting shenanigans today.
Not in a front-wheel drive.
Not in a front-wheel drive, which makes it fairly predictable to drive. But let's see. Understeer. Come on. Power, 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 power. Thank you. So yeah, that was traction control was completely killing anything.
Oh, yeah.
Could we turn it off? Yeah, but I mean, like, so I'm just gonna do some maneuvers here. Like, the weight's low. It'll drive totally fine. Like, it's never gonna be like sporty. It's not a Mach-E. No. It's not an IONIQ 5. That's fine. Should we change seats though?
We should. All right.
It's an EV. Like,
yeah, it's that's one thing we were just saying, that it's kind of hard to do these drive tests and have a whole lot to say, because all EVs generally drive very similar.
That used to be the big differentiator, right? With internal combustion engines, like, oh, this engine, you know, it's turbocharged and it has these characteristics. That squirrel is suicidal. Just stop on the road too in front of us. But yeah, it's an EV. It's smooth. What does differentiate in between EVs though is suspension.
Suspension, price, power.
Exactly. And speaking of suspension, I very much like how this rides.
Yeah, smooth, very smooth.
It is smooth. Like, you still do feel imperfections, but it is definitely a nice riding. I would say it probably rides a little nicer than a Mach-E does. But what I love about this is like NVH, so noises, vibration, harshness. It's very quiet. It's a very quiet cabin. Probably the most refined Nissan cabin I've been in, even up on highway speeds. It is very easy to have a conversation. Even right now, I'm not talking loudly at all.
No, not at all.
And you just don't hear a lot. It's a very isolated and comfy cabin. I'm not a big fan of the brake pedal. The calibration is a little...
Seems like it comes on a little hot. So it's like soft, and then it...
Yeah, that's that transition from regeneration to like actual physical brakes, where I'm like, that could be a bit better, because I find myself searching for brake power. And then suddenly I get all the brake power. Like, you get used to it, but some other EVs do that a little better.
I mean, generally, it's pretty. Again, this is my first time behind the wheel, just so you guys know. Pleasant. Again, like, there's nothing really negative to say here.
It's a cruiser, in a way,
It's
right?
definitely a cruiser.
It's a cruiser. You get 500 kilometers of range. This does not charge as quick as an IONIQ 5 will. This is still like, it can still fast charge and all that, so it still gets you like a good amount of range in a decent time. Just something to consider. But yeah, honestly, I'm very happy with the ARIYA. I think that's a very good product from that.
The question is the price point acceptable for what you're getting? That's the question that I'm still unsure about, because The one we're sitting in now, what's it price? 70,000.
Pretty
69?
much $69,532 Canadian, which is a lot of money. And if you're looking at the competitors, a fully spec, so a Mach-E you can get for similar price, like the top trim that's not the GT.
Not the GT, yeah.
And you have rear-wheel drive. You have like 380 horsepower. What the Mach-E does not have is as much range. And because it doesn't have a heat pump, it'll lose more range in the winter than this will. So that is a consideration. Both of them very nice cars. It's really, I think there's the decision, do you look for fun, engagement, style? Then I would say Mach-E. Do you look for just cruising, refinement, A to B? I can totally see the ARIYA. The bigger problem though is that the IONIQ 5 and EV6 exists.
Yeah, that's a huge problem.
Top spec, $10,000 less. Before incentives, of course, all these prices, by the way.
And there's a lot that those vehicles do well.
They're faster. They're pretty much as roomy. They're pretty much as refined. I mean, you might not care about the fast, but still, like
you could argue they have nicer interiors. But that might be subjective.
I would say, I mean, it really depends. Both of them, honestly, they're different and they're nice in a different way. I like both of them. But what the IONIQ 5 will give you is all-wheel drive. You'll get the same range. You get faster charging. You get better tech. This does have like lane centering, but it's coupled to adaptive cruise control. But the IONIQs, you know, they have those blind spot cameras and all that, and they have better cameras in general. Like,
and you're saving $10,000.
Yes.
That's
in a world where if I have both cars in front of me, I'll pick the IONIQ.
Same.
But that's not the world we live in. The world we live in is the world where if you're in the US, you got to pay like $10,000 more dealer fees for an IONIQ, or you got to wait 2 years.
But even for the same price, I still pick the IONIQ. Personally, for the same price.
That's where the brake pedal is getting you right now.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
The brake pedal, I'm not used to it. I mean, I'm sure after a week I'd get used to it.
Yeah, I got used to it.
But
eventually.
It's a little bit funky.
Yeah, so
for the same price, why would you not pick the IONIQ?
Oh, this would though.
The wood's nice. But for
really
me, I prefer to have more performance.
Yes,
and a little bit better tech.
I would. It's a close decision. I would still go IONIQ, but I think the average person is very well served with the ARIYA. And I think the average person will be very happy with this. It is right now, the landscape is just kind of like, you kind of get what you can get. If you buy an EV, $70,000 is a hard pill to swallow for a car this size.
It's a hard pill to swallow.
But, and you mentioned what it's like in GV70 is like 15 grand more, which, I mean, yeah, it's 15 grand, but like, it's also a big step.
It's also fantastic.
It's like amazing.
I fell in love with that car.
So you might want to save up one more year and then then you can buy them anyway because they're stock.
Just blisteringly fast, beautiful inside and out.
God, that car is so good. But yeah, so that's my verdict personally.
I agree.
I think we both really like the ARIYA.
I do.
It's just for the money, it's a little hard to like outright recommend. But if you've been a Nissan loyal, or you just want to have ease, maybe you don't even want to have a fast car. It's a really refined and comfortable place to be.
Good effort.
It's a good effort, and I think it's a great step up. Like, Nissan is moving in the right directions, which I really like to see. With the rope, which is really nice, this is good and very encouraging. I'm curious what the next products are going to be like. Speaking of next products, thank you so much for watching.
If you guys enjoyed this video, as always, hit the bell, like, subscribe, all that good stuff that helps us, boost the algorithm or all that fun stuff.
Exactly, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.
See ya.